This time he's going to hand it off. That's Escarcega. He's in around the left side. Touchdown. Up at the 20. Now he's coming down the sideline. He gets a block. He's out to the 48. Oh, no, they're going to fake the handoff. And now under heavy pressure and coming in on the sack is going to be Connor Pride. He did that twice last week. He could go all the way. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He's at the 10. Touchdown, Eduardo Hernandez. Roll to the right. He's being chased. Now he throws the right to a man coming across the field, and it's going to be caught. And now we have a foot race going downfield, but coming in to tackle Jacob Sign. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. And they're going to hand it off to Escarcega. He has a big opening. He's out in the out to the 40-yard line. They're going to roll to the left. He gets past the receiver, throws it deep in the end zone. Touchdown, Dumas Demon, Cole Garcia. And he's going to hand it off to Escarcega. He's looking for something on the right side. Now he breaks through. He's at the 20. He's at the 10. Touchdown, Luis Escarcega from 49 yards out.
Well, that was a great run by Escarcega.
Cole DeMille throws it across the middle. He has James Coley open. He's going to run away from everyone. He'll score. Touchdown, James Coley, Dumas Demon.
Let me tell you, that's about as good as you can draw it up.
And everything's coming left, and it's number 0. He's going to be hit, and I think that's Jonathan Marquez. Torres under center. He pitches it. Here comes, no, he fakes the reverse, but Dumas doesn't go with it, and they tackle him at the 6-yard line. Dumas defends. All right, Mills back to pass, looking, throws across middle, has a receiver open.
Oh, wow.
That could go the distance. Is that James Coley again on the run? It's going to be at the 10. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. That's Johnny Marquez, I believe, number 3.
Yes, it was.
It shows blitz on the left. Here it comes. They're going to pick it up. No, Dumas going to knock the ball down, and I think Dumas going to fall on it.
You're watching Dumas ISD TV.
All right, welcome to Game 8, District Game 2 of the Coaches Show with head coach Aaron Dunnam of the Dumas Demon football teams. Coach Dunnam, welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, thank you, Zane. Sure appreciate it.
Coach, Dumas Demons this past game lost a heartbreaker to the Randall Raiders in our first game of district play, 14-13. What's your overall thoughts on the game?
Well, obviously exactly what you said it is. I mean, a heartbreaker. I mean, a game that we believe that we could have won and should have won. Yeah. It was an opening district ball game, just a game that we thought could really, set us off on the right foot for district play. And so as you go back and just evaluate it and look at it, a lot of the same, it almost makes out like it was the year before. I think last year was a 14-17 game or a 13-17 game, somewhere around there, and this one's 14-13, and we've got to find ways to win. We've got to find ways to win those games. Get inside the red zone again a couple of times this week, and we come away with 3 points instead of 7, and that's a difference in the ball game. And then you can look at it any other way. Just as that could be a difference in the ball game, so could the first play of the game on defense. Where they motion to empty, and we just don't execute real well for a touchdown. And when we defend that play, or I call a timeout or something like that. I think it's a different ending to the football game.
Coach, you outgained them 361 to 233 on defense and hold them to 43 total yards offense in the second half. And those were all rushing yards.
Sure.
So talk about, your overall team effort. Like you said, you were able to move the ball, really in between the 20s of the field really well. I thought defensively, this might have been one of the better games that the defense has played. Outside of getting big played at the first of the game, the defense played pretty stellar.
Well, that's something that I think it's starting to be a little bit of a trend a little bit. We for the last 3 weeks, our last 3 ball games, we've played extremely well, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 ball games there where anywhere from 40 to 50 yards of total total offense.
That's true.
They have not scored in the second half.
Six quarters in a row in the second half.
And so, I mean, I think we're starting to understand what we're doing. I think also, that's a testament a little bit to our coaches with what we're doing at halftime after we see what the other team's given us, and then our kids being able to come out and execute that. That's something we struggle with early. That's something that we struggle with an inexperienced team. But our kids are starting to understand what we're doing a lot better. And then, you talk offensively. I think we have to be careful with that, because I think that's something that we've maybe got accustomed to. We do move the football from 20 to 20, but we're struggling inside the red zone.
Sure.
And so definitely something that we've got to get better at, because I think it's been our Achilles heel a little bit here in causing us to be able to get over the hump and win these games, these close ball games. But definitely proud of our kids. Definitely. Even in the loss, I think we had growth. I think we did some things, and I still believe that everything's still in front of us.
Yeah.
It really is.
Let's talk about a few of those kids. Your running back, Luis Escarcega, rushed for 153 yards. The last two games combined, he's rushed for 284. And he's a kid that got a little bit of an opportunity last year, showed a little bit of flashes, and then kind of played backup to start out the season. And he might still be the backup. I'm not sure. I don't know how the rotation goes, but he got his chance and he really took advantage of it.
Well, he's a young man that as we always talk in the coach's office, and we're talking about our personnel and our kids. He's a kid that just works extremely hard, hard in the off season. Multi-sport athlete that does everything that we ask him to do. Yeah. And I think it's paying off for him now. I mean, I think you're seeing him have success because of how hard he plays the game and the effort that he has put in to making himself a better football player. And he is, he's playing good. We talk about these trends. I mean, I think me and you just keep on week in, week out. We're starting to talk about the same guys.
Sure.
And I think we're having some really guys that are really stepping up and really helping our football team right now. Now what we need to figure out is how we can have those guys step up, or maybe some that aren't, to get us over the hump to win these football games that we're not winning.
Freshman kicker, Josh Samaripa, I know that we would rather score touchdowns, but he got a couple opportunities last week, and I feel like is gaining confidence every week, and I thought he kicked really well.
He is. He's really gaining some confidence. Even in these games that we've talked about in the past, where he might have struggled early. You're just not seeing that right now. I mean, every opportunity that he's getting, he's really making it count. I mean, he's starting to. I mean, I'm starting to feel, like we were, 2 and 3 years ago, where if we got inside the 30, I mean, we're at least going to leave with 3 points, and he's giving us that confidence right now, and making that happen. He's doing a lot better job on our kickoffs, and he struggled a little bit early in the season on his placement and where he was kicking the ball, but he's getting better. And again, I think his future is extremely bright. I mean, just being a freshman.
This is one of those guys that we're talking about every week, but Johnny Marquez, I felt like had another great game. He led the team in tackles, but also had a couple tackles for loss. It just seems like he is finding a way to be effective every week.
He really is starting to understand, our scheme, starting to understand his fit within that. And I think you're seeing that. He's a kid that plays the game extremely hard. We've challenged some of our other kids, to play with his energy and play with, just how fast he runs to the football. I think he is a big reason of the entire defensive success that we've had, here in the push of late in the season, and where, a defense maybe early that didn't understand exactly what we were doing or where our fit was, because we are a gap sound defense. He's really, has really, done an outstanding job of just fitting his role, and really allows we can move him around and put him in position to make plays, because he's really starting to do that.
So he reminds you of a safety that played for us last few years.
He does. He's a great tackler, very, very talented young man.
Yeah.
And just somebody that I'm glad that we have on our football team.
Yeah. Guy we're talking about is Parker. I mean, he's Parker, of course, was kind of a stalwart back there for the couple years that he got on varsity, and I feel like, I mean, Johnny reminds me a lot of what Parker was able to do.
Sure. He's like almost like another linebacker in the box.
Yeah.
I mean, really is what our safety is. I mean, it's through certain formations, and just a lot of what we do, we try to get the football to him, and he's really standing up, and a kid that what I really like, I love to see this. I mean, he struggled early.
Sure.
He struggled. He struggled tackling.
Mm-hmm.
We were a defense that really wanted him to get involved and wanted him to make some tackles, but it's just awesome to watch kids grow, to watch kids just continue just to buy in and start believing in themselves. I think his confidence right now and the confidence in his abilities to make plays is really, really good, and that's really fun to watch.
Another guy that I feel like had a really good game, and I called a breakout game. I mean, he's a kid I think that you guys have out there because you know that he can make plays.
Sure.
That's Connor Fry. He's an outside linebacker. He had 3 tackles for loss.
He really is, and I think both of our outside linebackers are really starting to play really good football.
Yeah.
Early in the year, we struggled there. I mean, they were both new kids, both getting their first varsity competition and starts, and just have really started to be consistent and really started to find their identity in this defense. And he's a kid that Connor's extremely fast. He's got really great feet, and he does some really good things for us in the passing game and his ability to cover. But he's really started to stand up and really started to show his worth and his value in stopping the run as well.
And I didn't mention that, but Connor did make a big play in the passing game on a pass breakup.
He did. He's just he's a kid that we noticed that early in the summer, in 7-on-7, just his ability, and that's been that position throughout, if you look at the last, 7 to 8 years of Demon football. I mean, that's a position that Braden Boggs played that position and could really get in coverage and really did a great job. And so Connor was another kid that we put that kid in a lot of different positions, to help us, and he's done a great job doing that.
I would say always the linebacking core for Dumas. Those are names that if you're a Dumas football fan, those are names you remember.
I would agree with that. I would agree. I mean, we take a lot of pride in stopping the run, and those are the guys that got to be able to do that.
Yeah. Other guy that I felt like had a good game or made a big play in the game was James Coley. He came up kind of on a drive in a situation where we had felt like there was fixing to be a penalty called. We were going to be able to stay on the field on offense. They picked the flag up, and we had to go right back on defense. But a couple plays into that defensive series, James Coley comes up with a forced fumble, but also recovers the fumble on the same play. He's just done a really good job for us. He's a kid that had I don't know, maybe five weeks ago was a kid that we had to start playing both ways. Sure.
He's a starting receiver for us, and that's probably where his primary position is. But he's had to really step up and play on both sides of the football every down. And he's doing a really good job. I mean, just as he understands what his role is and starts to understand coverage, he's really starting to play good football. And he had an older brother that was pretty good for us at this position that and I can really start seeing the way that he's playing and Hunter did a great job for us, and James is another young man that's really starting to play good football for us.
I think what has been so similar about Hunter and with James was you kind of put them in those positions, not really knowing, are they going to be able to handle this? Is this going to be what they can do? And
sure.
Both of those guys Hunter definitely showed by the end of his career he was a stud.
He was.
I think he kind of did he lead the area in interceptions.
He did. Just really had a knack for for putting himself in position to get interceptions, and James is doing the same thing. James just in coverage is getting better and better and better every week, and again, just a really neat thing to watch our kids develop and get better as the season goes on.
I agree. It's really fun to see, where we started out, and where these guys have come to this point.
Agree.
Well, Coach, the Road Warriors are headed back on the road. We're going to travel across the Panhandle to the east side over there and play against the Pampa Harvesters. They're a team similar to us that battled some injuries this season and maybe still be battling some of those. They're also going to be looking for their first win in district play on Friday night. What are you looking for out of tonight's opponent?
Well, I think it's a huge football game as what you state. I mean, simply because both looking for a district win, both, there's a lot of ways this district race can still play out because there's a lot of football left.
Sure.
But as you look at it, this game has some huge playoff implications to it. I mean, it just really does. And I think, whoever, the winner of this football game definitely puts themselves, in a position, to make the playoffs.
Sure.
And so, I see a Pampa team that's, they're still trying to find their identity. As they are working through multiple injuries. Yep. But what I do see is a team that, as you watch film and as you break them down, as you see them play, I mean, there's so many different opportunities in the football game where, they were right in it and they're right in the middle. If the ball bounces a little bit different way for them, they're not in the exact position they are. I mean, very similar to us.
Sure.
And so, it's going to be a tough fought ball game and a game that that's going to be is exciting and has a lot of opportunities for us and for them, and so excited about it, excited about the opportunity.
Defensive side of the ball for you guys, what's going to be key for Dumas as we face this Pampa offense? They're
a little bit different. The fact of who they have carrying the football, they use a bunch of different kids, but a bunch of kids that are very, very capable, of running their offense. They're they in the past they have been more of a running style offense, an offense that gets in multiple different formations and runs the inside zone really well. And so we're gonna have to us defensive, we're gonna have to be able to line up to that and stop the run game. I think if we can make them one dimensional now as we do, I mean they've been different. I mean they've entered some games where they've thrown the football a lot, and so they've got a quarterback. They sort of rotate and use some different quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks that run the football. Some quarterbacks that throw it, and so they do a really, really good receiver, number 15, a talented kid. And so we're gonna have to understand where he's at and understand, the quarterback does have the ability to get the football to him and make big plays. They have the plays that you've seen them make throughout video have been with those two guys, and so we're gonna have to do a really good job of eliminating the big play because Pampa, sometimes they're looking for that, and that's sort of what keeps their offense going is the big play. So we're gonna have to eliminate that and play really, really good sound defense.
Yeah, it's going to be an entertaining battle. They've, I think, a very different team from what we've seen in the past. I think it seems like the last few years that we played them, they've relied heavily on an experienced offensive line. I think it's a little bit different this year where they're having to kind of rely more on some skill players.
It is a little bit different. I mean, they had a really, really good offensive line last year that was very aggressive and then their tailback behind it. And so they were their ability to run the football last year and was really good. And I mean, they've still got it this year.
Sure.
But it is with a more inexperienced line and an offensive line that that wasn't quite as big and as physical as in the years past. And so definitely they present many challenges to us, and we're going to have to definitely bring our A game on the defense side of the football.
Offensive side of the ball, what do you think is going to be key for Dumas to not just move the ball but score versus the Harvester defense?
Well, I think it's a mentality mentality too.
Sure.
As we look offensively, and we talk about each and every game and our yardage. I mean, I don't think that's ever something that is a struggle. I mean, we're still continuing to move the football, but we're struggling within the red zone. And I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. Number one, I think it's a mentality. I think something that we've tried to do on the defense side of the football, because just talking about mentality is, I mean, the third down defense is huge for us.
Sure.
And so we've tried to create an emphasis on that, and we communicate with the kids from the sideline that, hey, this is third down, it's important, we must get off the field. I think we've got to create that same type of energy on our offense, a mindset of when we enter the red zone, that there's this, it's different, and the way we play the game is different, and we're almost in a must-win situation. We've got to win these downs, and we've got to be more physical, and so I think we've got to be able to run the football down there. I think we've got to win one-on-one battles. We can't have we can't have mental errors down inside the red zone because they really, really hurt you.
Sure.
And then when kids' numbers are called, I mean, I think we've got to be able to, we've got to be able to execute, and we've got to be able to get the football in the end zone. And so that I think that is our success. I still believe. I think in the last, since the Bushland game, where Colton Mills really had a great game throwing the football. Yeah. I think we've got to be careful of just thinking that, okay, now Dumas football has changed, and we're going to be a team that's just going to sling it around. And
sure.
I mean, I think that's putting a lot of pressure on a freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
And so we've got to take a little bit of that pressure off of him with our offensive line, with our running backs, with our receivers blocking out on the edge, and we've got to be able to run the football and take a little bit of that pressure off of him. And I think if we do that, I think if we have that mentality, that we're going to see some success, and we're going to be able to put the ball in the end zone when we need to on offense.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a great game. I think every single game presents certain matchups, and certain teams match up well against other teams, and I think the Demons on each side of the ball have an opportunity in this game to really be stellar, but it all comes down to that execution.
It does. I mean, it doesn't matter, what the matchups look like. It doesn't matter if we believe that they're favorable on our side, or you enter a lot of games where you can look at it and say, boy, this is going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
It still is one-on-one matchups. It still is our ability to execute over theirs, and so. That's everybody involved. That's coaching staff, from our players to all the way down. Is when it comes time to execution, we're all in charge of that.
Yeah, looking forward to a great game, Coach.
Yes,
it's
sir.
Always a fun atmosphere over there. It's wild. It's like you're at a carnival, and there's a game going on. And looking forward to it. Looking for the Demons to play well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am too. At Alva, it was really neat. It was an older stadium. What was cool about it is it has tiers in the end zone of where our fans actually would pull in, and they all have parking spots on the 3 different tiers.
That's pretty awesome.
And so it's really neat. It was neat.
Thank you for watching Dumas ISD TV. Be sure to check out these upcoming Dumas ISD events.
We got some quick hits. We're going to kind of talk about some similar stadiums, but ones that you kind of prefer. So we'll start with the big battle of the Panhandle, the 806, Dick Bivens Stadium or Lowry Stadium at Plains Capital Park. Amarillo versus Lubbock.
Sure. Well, I've just played a little bit more in Plains Capital.
Sure.
Our team has just in the past.
Yeah.
Recently they got brand new turf now, and so it's really good. Right. But previous to this, I was starting to get a little bit concerned of the turf, and so I was. But now. and Dick Bivens is a good stadium as well. I mean, I really like both of them. The the locker rooms are both really, really nice and give you ability to dress your entire team in there. And so I guess if I was having to pick right now, I'd lean a little bit more toward Lowry Stadium, just because maybe some of our history there and how we've played and some of the big ball games that we've won there. I still remember the Wichita Falls Hershey game, where we got over the hump a little bit in the first round of the playoffs. And so those things will always be special memories inside of my head, and maybe that allow me to push toward that stadium a little bit more.
I mean, once we get into the playoffs, it is Dumas Demon Stadium South.
It is. We play a lot there.
This next one, we have played in both of these stadiums, Ratliff Stadium in Odessa, and it's newly named. I had to look this up.
I didn't even know that.
Astound Broadcast Stadium in Midland used to be Grande Com.
I didn't even know that, but honestly, probably one of the most favorite stadiums that I've ever played in would be the former Grande Communications Stadium there at Midland. I really like that stadium. I think they did a good job when they built it. They didn't build it too big. They built it for high school, but they built enough. I mean, it is a really nice big stadium, and just and I remember, I mean, we've had some really good memories there. I mean, we lost a football game there, but played some really, really good tough ones. And I remember, the crowd there that Dumas brought, and it was very, very electric and loud. And I really like that stadium. So I definitely have to pick Astound Broadcast Stadium now.
The uniqueness about both of those stadiums, Ratliff and Astound, Grande Com, and Midland, is, like you said, both of those are football stadiums. There's no tracks that are in those stadiums, I don't think. There's not a track.
There's not.
And so, especially in Midland, a little bit in Odessa, but especially in the stadium in Midland, it feels like the stands are almost on top of the stadium. I mean, there's no real separation in between the where the football team is and where the stands start.
Sure,
that's pretty cool atmosphere for games.
Sure, and I mean, which I love Ratliff too, just because the history behind it. But I think what really comes to my mind is just we've played 2 games there with very, very few fans. On a Thursday, but that was not how it was when we played. At Grande, that was not how it was. So.
These are these next two are 2 stadiums that I think that you've been in when you were at Abilene Cooper, but they are historic Texas high school football stadiums as well. Shotwell Stadium, which is in Abilene, and then San Angelo Stadium.
I would definitely pick Shotwell because, I mean, it was my home stadium. I was at Abilene Cooper for 5 seasons, and just that was our stadium. And here recently, they're really doing a lot of work on it. They've just totally redone, the press box, and they're doing a really, really good job out there in Abilene. And so that's a stadium that I've played a lot of football games in, and just a really good stadium. Not San Angelo Stadium is big as well, and really, really good stadium, but definitely Shotwell.
Yeah, I actually on Friday night we watched part of, I think it was Lubbock Cooper was playing Abilene High maybe last Friday night. It was a really good game, and it was at Shotwell, and they showed some just some pictures of what the stadium looked like from afar, and it looks incredible.
It is. I mean,
they've done a lot of work there.
It's really good. Coach Garfield now is the AD out there, and just done a really good job coming in and indoor facilities at both high schools, and really upgrading the facilities there at the stadium. And just Abilene was always a special place, man. I really enjoyed my time in Abilene. I like the community, and I really enjoyed my time there. When I was at Abilene Cooper.
I think unique about Shotwell Stadium for a while too was, I mean, they've hosted a lot of state championships there before all the state championships were housed in one place. It was still like you were in the playoffs and you kind of met this middle ground type place, and Shotwell hosted a lot of those.
I actually played in a state championship game there.
There you go.
So I did, and it was a time they didn't have turf. It was natural grass, and I played in a state championship game there, and against Granger, and so it was a lot of fun.
It's pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll turn back the clock here. What was the best college stadium that you played in?
college stadium.
This is going to make your mind go.
Oh man, I played in a lot of different ones. Probably some of the neatest that I played in, or even maybe that I didn't play in, that maybe I even went and watched my brother play in.
Sure.
I played small college football.
Yeah.
I played at Eastern New Mexico, and then I transferred to Northwestern Oklahoma State in Alva, and I really loved our stadium at Alva. It was really neat. It was an older stadium. What was cool about it is it has tiers in the end zone of where our fans actually would pull in, and they all have parking spots on the 3 different tiers.
That's pretty awesome.
So it was really neat. It was neat. We played in some really, really cool stadiums, or up in some of these small colleges up through Nebraska and Kearney, and just some really, really. I remember like a stadium called like the Oak Bowl, where there were just a bunch of oak trees and small college football, and so that's I didn't play in these huge stadiums. We did get to play at Tech.
Yeah.
We played at Tech. That was really really fun for us, even here at Dumas. Probably some really neat experiences for me are just some of the small college football stadiums that I played in, playing at Eastern New Mexico and playing at Northwestern. And there's a bunch of them. They're really neat, and, still where the game is still pure and true, and things of that nature. So,
I think for the average fan, if you've never gone out and watched a small college football game, I mean, they're so unique, and it's a lot of fun. Like, I always thought that Blackwater Draw was a cool place.
It was 7 miles out in the country, really, really, really tall grass, and a lot of history behind Blackwater Draw and what happened out there. And so played a lot of games there, and it was really neat. And now Eastern has one on campus. Yeah. And so you still drive by when you drive between Clovis and Portales. You just drive by an old abandoned stadium out there. Yeah, so but it's really neat. I had some fun times there as well.
The first time that I ever went or was by Blackwater Draw was there was a game going on there, and you drive up to that place. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
It is.
But you see the stadium lights. This is a cool place.
It is really neat. It is.
All right. Well, here's the burning question for today, and this might kind of jog your memory a little bit. The greatest TV game show of all time.
I don't watch tons of TV.
I knew that you didn't, so that's kind of why I tagged that all time there. Maybe pull up some memories from childhood or something.
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to. I'm not a huge TV watcher. I just don't. Especially, I'm also not a huge game guy. I don't like to play card games. I don't. Now my family does, and so I'm always everybody always gets a little frustrated with me, because when our families gather, my wife and our kids do like to get together and play games, and hey, do you want to play? And sometimes I'm like, no, and they get mad at me because I'm just not. I wasn't growing up. Me and my brother in pennies bought the Nintendo. My parents weren't going to buy it for us. If you want one of these game consoles or whatever, you're going to buy it on your own. And so we did. We bought the first Nintendo. I think it was $99. We bought it in like rolls of pennies and quarters and everything. And so I wasn't I just didn't play tons of video games. I was a kid that would go out and run and play games from time the sun came up until the time the sun went down. And so I don't know. I don't know if I can even answer that, because I'm just not a big TV guy or game guy.
Well, let me go. I like Jeopardy.
There you go.
I like trivia. I like all that kind of stuff, and I could probably sit down and watch hours of Jeopardy.
If it's not a TV show, but I'm not a game guy, but probably my favorite game, and my family gets mad at it because when we do play this, I like it, and I'm pretty decent at it because I'm pretty competitive. So Balderdash is probably one of my favorite. I don't know. I like writing. I like making up things, and then when they pick mine, I get excited about it. So
I like that. I like that too. I like that game. That's fun. Well, that's a good time. Let's talk about some games that are going on. Again, we're in district play, so all these games are going to be in district play. Lubbock Monterey going to travel play Lubbock Cooper.
Definitely think Lubbock Cooper's the better football team.
Sure.
But Lubbock Monterey has really made some strides and some improvement from the previous season. They started really were playing some really good football early, and still just a team that's made great strides in the last year. But I just think Lubbock Cooper, especially being at their place,
sure.
I'd take Lubbock Cooper in this game.
So it's going to be a tough one for Perryton. They travel to Happy State Bank Field and play against Canyon West Plains.
West Plains got a lot of momentum right now, playing really good football. Watch them play the Estacada game a little bit, and just a team that's riding a whole lot of momentum and playing some really good football right now. And so I definitely take West Plains in this game.
Yeah. Paladuro makes a tough road trip. They'll travel and play at Wichita Falls Rider.
Paladuro's playing better football. I was able to get online just last week a little bit and watch Paladuro and Abilene Cooper. Paladuro had opportunities at the very end, to possibly go win that football game or tie it up. And so, but definitely, just the story. I've played Rider in the past, and really good football team, and I take, especially being at Rider, I take Rider in this game.
I think your eyes are going to be on this. I'm getting ahead of myself. Next game is Plainview at Abilene Cooper. Again, Plainview's playing had a much better season, and they'll travel down to Shotwell and play it against Abilene Cooper.
Sure, and the head man at Plainview was an old Abilene Cooper guy.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
so brings a little bit of a story to this. I still, Coach Roan there at Abilene Cooper, still a really good friend of mine, and a guy that I was on staff with when I was at Abilene Cooper. Cooper's struggling a little bit this year.
Sure.
Not having quite the success that they've had, and Plainview is riding a whole lot of momentum, and so this is an interesting football game, and I think it'll be a lot closer game than maybe people think it would be, as you look at Abilene Cooper and Plainview. And so I don't know. I'm just going to go out there and just maybe Plainview this might be an upset time. I mean, Plainview might go out there and upset Abilene Cooper.
I think they could. These next two games are big games in Region 1. Mm-hmm. I would guess that you guys are going to be peaking later on, obviously, at what happens in these games, because they're going to affect where teams are going to be placed as we begin over these next 3 weeks to start to put together what a bracket's going to look like and who's going to be matched up against each other. It's Brownwood at Lubbock Estacado. This is going to be a game.
It's pretty neat that it's at Lubbock Estacado. I mean, I think that's definitely an advantage to Estacado.
Sure.
But Brownwood's, state-ranked football team right now, playing really good football, and have played some really tough teams throughout this season. The big game with them in Stephenville, pretty close ball game. I don't know. I mean, I think it's just with the history that Brownwood has and what I've seen them do, and ever since their movement up to Region 1. I don't know. I hadn't seen anybody really keep Lubbock Estacado, under 40 points hardly all season long, no matter who they were playing. Yeah. And so, I think that's what it's going to come down to, is how Brownwood, their ability to limit the big plays of Lubbock Estacado, and then also limit Lubbock Estacado. Lubbock Estacado's defense makes big plays and scores a lot as well to help with those points. And so, very aggressive defense. I don't know. This is a toss-up, and I'm not sure that I can pick it, but very, very interested, in what happens in this ball game.
Definitely. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's a toss-up.
Sure.
This next one, massive rivalry game. Again, two top teams, I would say, in Region 1.
Sure.
It's going to decide, I think, who is the district champion out of District 4. Mm-hmm. And so Decatur travels to Springtown. I mean, when we hear those two names, it kind of makes you throw up in the back of your mouth.
Sure.
I mean, but they're going to play each other in Springtown.
I'm not sure that anybody, in 4A has played a much tougher schedule than Decatur. Decatur's played some really, really tough people, and have been in every ball game. Have lost a couple of them by a point or a touchdown, and a team that I think is playing really good football. You look at Springtown. Springtown had some bumps early, but have really here late in the season have really started coming along, and they're putting 40 points on the board. That's always a big game, and it has been since the last 5 or 6 years that we've been really interested in what's happening here. And so being at Springtown, I think is a big ball game, and much like the ones that we've talked about in the past, I think this is a toss-up. I do. I mean, I think it could go either way. We've been able to see Decatur a little bit because Pampa played them and through that trade of that video. And so I don't know who's going to win this, but I think it's going to be a really good football game.
The thing with both of these games, Brownwood Estacado, Decatur Springtown, the winners are putting themselves in driver's seats to win district championships.
Sure.
But the thing is, the losers of these games are still really good football teams.
Exactly.
So I think these 4 teams, Brownwood, Estacado, Decatur, Springtown, are teams that if the Dumas Demons take care of business over the next 3 weeks, these are teams that the Dumas Demons could meet up with in the playoffs.
Without a doubt.
And I think the combination of these 4 teams, and I'm going to throw Dumas in there, and whoever else contends for District 3-4A are going to be the 6 teams that decide who comes out of Region 1.
Without a doubt. Yes, sir.
Well, so in saying that, there's the other game that's taking place in District 3-4A is going to start weeding through the winner. The winner between Canyon Randall and Canyon is that they're going to have a leg up on taking the district title along with us if we take care of business over the last 3 games. So Canyon and Randall. Canyon's going to be the designated home team, but they're both playing in their home stadium.
Sure, and a huge rivalry game, and then a huge implications in how this district ends. And I'm not for sure how we want it. Currently right now, Randall's setting 2-0 in district. Canyon's setting 1-0 just because of the open week.
Sure.
I don't think this district's anywhere close to being decided right now.
Sure.
I think it could very easily, the Dumas Demons could very easily be the district champions, as long with any of these football teams right here. It just depends on how the next 3 weeks play out. And I think there's going to be some really good football and some tough football games in order to determine that. And so I don't know. I don't know who will win this football game, but I think it's going to be a really good football game played between 2 really good football teams.
It's a lot of fun.
It will be. It will be.
The last 3 games that we mentioned, of course, all in Region 1 of Class 4A Division 1. And, I think any of these teams are in the mix. You can even throw Hereford in the mix, who's had a really good season up to this point. We have 3 games left that are guaranteed for us. And a boatload of possibilities of what everything can happen. But for you guys, it just comes down to we've got to take care of business, execute, and as mean as the scoreboard can be sometimes, we've got to come out on top.
That's it. I mean, that's been the conversation that I've had with our team is that have we progressed? Have we gotten better? I don't think there's any question about that. We have. But now in order to get better, we've started doing things right. We've started doing more things right than we have wrong, and we've started to grow. Now we've got to figure out how to win these games, how to just get on the other side of the win-loss. And I think that's through execution and through our kids just continue to stay and continue to fight.
Yeah. So. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us again.
Sir.
Looking
Thank
for
you,
a
Zane.
fun, great game as we travel over to Pampa, and looking for those Demons to come out on top.
Yes, sir. I am too. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Kickoff is next from Harvester Field. Dumas Demons getting ready to take on the Pampa Harvesters.
You're watching Dumas ISD TV.